going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear podcast. And today we want to talk about one of the biggest performances in week 9, not just for the Bears, but overall the NFL for any rookie this week. Let's talk about running back Kyle Monangai. And it's once again, guys, time to talk about Kyle Monangai on this channel. And if you've been following me now for a couple of weeks and months, you know that this performance is not a surprise at all with the increased workout now that Kyle Monangai got in this game with DeAndre Swift being injured. But he has shown all these glimpses that he now put into more productive game with getting more carries throughout this entire season so far, just with a much lesser workload. But he showed out against the Cincinnati Bengals, and like I said, it wasn't a surprise if you watched his all 22 throughout this season. And the breakout for me already happened in week 7 against the Saints. That's why I not want to call this his breakout game, because he just had it, but that's just a game of a rising star in this offense that fits it to perfection. And want to take a deep dive today once again into his all 22 and see what he was able to do in Ben Johnson's offense. And real quick, guys, for the game, because I'm not doing recaps anymore, full game recaps, I think it was a pretty insane game to say the least. I think for non-Bengals and non-Bears fans, it was probably a very entertaining game. But I knew that when the Bears still were up 2 scores, that it's the Bears and something could still happen. And of course it happened. And they allowed the onside kick to be recovered and get scored on as well. But Caleb Williams, the offense, found a way to score again and take home that victory. But one of the big stars, again, that we're going to talk about today is Kyle Monangai. So I'm so excited for him. Let's talk about him, get into it, and talk about the stats first of all. And if we're looking at the stats for Kyle Monangai rushing wise, he had 26 attempts for 176 yards, which equals 6.8 yards per carry, which is really, really good. He also had a rushing EPA of plus 7.7, which is really good, and plus 59 rush yards over expected according to next gen stats, and then 123 yards overall on the day after contact, which is both the rush yards over expected and the yards after contact more than DeAndre Swift has accomplished in any single game over the past 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears. Now, obviously, with this performance, you have to put into perspective that the Bengals defense were the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL, so obviously not a great opponent here, and that the offensive line is really getting there right now for Ben Johnson, and he didn't get hit a lot, Kyle Monangai, in the backfield behind the line of scrimmage, so they did a good job of giving him a clean pathway to run through. And then for his receiving stats, he had 3 receptions for 22 yards and 1 drop as well. And with that being said, let's not waste any more time, get straight into the film room and look at his all 22. And obviously, as always, we want to start off with his rushing ability, because that's the big thing that he adds to the Chicago Bears offense. A outstanding performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I just said that it is the worst defense in the NFL right now. But like I said, whenever he's gotten the carry, whenever he's gotten the ball in this offense against whoever they played this year, he's looked the exact same. He just got more carries in that game, and that really stacked up to his other performances. And to get some structure into this video, to just sort it a little bit, I structured the positives into his run types that he ran in this game. One big positive for Kyle Monangai was definitely his ability to run inside zone and between the tackle runs. What I loved in this game was his ability to just fall forward, keeps his legs moving, and the power that he displayed in the inside zone run game. And that's the big difference to DeAndre Swift that he adds to that offense. He'll fall forward and gain extra yards if a look gets cloudy or something looks muddy and nothing is really there. He puts his head down and gains yards. That's a big issue of DeAndre Swift, or what he's had as an issue for multiple years now, or for almost his entire NFL career. And also really liked his vision in inside zone, was really patient, calm, no panic at all, and then was really decisive hitting gaps as well. And there's a couple of examples I want to get into. One specifically, a 4th and 1 play for the Chicago Bears. Important down, do or die here for the Bears. And they faced a stacked box by the Bengals defense. And the Bears, like I said, just run basic inside zone here from under center. And how Ben Johnson creates more numbers or evens the numbers out is pretty impressive. He just motions in Rome Odunze and they run inside zone insert with him, inserting him between the tackle and tight end here. And right here, with the matchups created, it's just a question of power and who wants it more. We have Darnell Wright driving that 4-eye technique over him all the way to the other side of the offensive line with a really impressive rep. And then Rome Odunze also digs out that strong safety here. But the only issue is that the double team with Drew Dahlman and Joe Thuney can't really get to that Mike linebacker, which leaves him exposed one-on-one in that C-gap with Kyle Monangai. But other than that, excellent blocking by the Chicago Bears offensive line here, paving the way for Kyle Monangai to even get that first down. And then for Kyle Monangai, like I said, that double team doesn't get there one-on-one against the linebacker in the hole. And this is Kyle Monangai right here. Lowers his shoulder, takes the linebacker for a ride 5 yards down the field, and gains much more than even just 1 yard here on 4th and 1. You see his power, his leg drive, his low center of gravity with him being just 5'9". That's his natural low pat level that he runs with, and just a very impressive rep here, running with power on inside zone insert here to get the first down for the Bears. And then another quick example I want to show you guys is one where the Bears are in shotgun and run inside zone to the right, and the 9 technique outside Cole Kmet here penetrates inside, and that's a great example of Kyle Monangai's vision. He sees inside is not going to be there. That 9 technique penetrates inside and he just bounces it to the outside. I love the vision here by Kyle Monangai. Patient, middle shutdown, and he bounces it outside and gains additional yardage as well. So in terms of power and vision, looked really good running inside zone for Ben Johnson and the Bears offense. And then to the second big point that we want to talk about today, the second big positive in terms of run types is just overall outside zone. Ben Johnson loves wide zone, so we want to start with that, the wide zones and tosses, and then later we look at his pin and pull run ability. But in wide zone, excellent vision all day long, reading his keys consistently, bouncing the run if he needs to, or finding also the cutback crease, which is the way wide zone mostly hits in that system. The players over pursue on defense, he just can't cut back towards the C gap or backside B gap or C gap and hit that run there, and he does that consistently, putting his foot on the ground, one cutting it and getting downhill. I love that by Kyle Monangai, and on also his ability to be a complete back in that system too. I think he's just perfectly fit for that wide zone scheme with his vision and power. That's the second element. We already talked about it in inside zone. Same applies for the wide zone. He just runs with so much anger and power. It's beautiful to watch on tape, always falling forward and keeping his legs moving even if the look gets cloudy. There's a couple of examples we're going to get into here as well. One wide zone to the left here against the Bengals, which is a great look against a weak box for the Chicago Bears offense here. So they have already advantageous numbers. So we got Theo Benedict working out to the 5 technique. We got a double by Thuney and Dahlman on the 3 technique to the Mike linebacker. And then you got a double team on the 2-eye by Darnell Wright and Jonah Jackson to the Sam linebacker. And then you just gain numbers here with a tight formation. You got a double on the wide 9 technique here with Colton Loveland and Durham Smythe, who then work to the nickel over Rome Odunze. So you got numbers here for the Chicago Bears, and this is again an excellent rep showing all the positive points that I just mentioned above, power and vision. And what Kyle Monangai does here is, with a beautiful rep, he presses it at the tackle, which is his basic aiming point on wide zone. The defense over pursues, which gets his eyes to the cutback lane. He decides to go for it, hits it beautifully, then also waits and lets the block develop for Jonah Jackson to get to the second level defender here to the Sam linebacker. And then he gets north-south quickly, and then as soon as contact is initiated at the 25-yard line, he drags multiple defenders all the way to the 13-yard line. So there's from the vision to the power aspect, everything in this rep. It takes 3 dudes to take Kyle Monangai down on this rep, and you just gotta love it, man. You gotta freaking love it. Amazing, beautiful rep by Kyle Monangai, just having the vision, finding the cutback lane, and then dragging defenders over 10 yards down the field, and it takes 3 guys to take him down. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, and he was consistently keeping those legs driving, gaining additional yards, and I was just very impressed, like all year long with him, how he ran wide zone. And then for the second category in this outside zone category, we got to talk about the pin and pull action as well for the Chicago Bears, as it was a key run play for the Bears out of shotgun here, and Ben loved it in this game as well, running pin and pull, just gaining numbers by down blocking with his receivers. Really solid speed by Kyle Monangai on those reps to turn the edge, had great vision, finding the opening and letting the downfield blocks also develop with his patience that he possesses. And then the elusiveness in the second level was very much evident, one of his more underrated parts of his game. There's one perfect example we want to take a look at here more in detail. A great call by Ben Johnson as the Chicago Bears are in a tight formation, using Olamide Zaccheaus and DJ Moore to down block, even though it's a little tough to see here from the end zone angle because DJ Moore is not in the picture right away, but using both of them to down block on the 5 technique and on the strong safety walk down here, allowing Darnell Wright to pull into the second level onto the cornerback. That's a nightmare matchup for that corner because Darnell Wright is playing outstanding right now in the run game. And then we're just running outside zone for the rest of the offensive line here. And Kyle Monangai's job here is just to hit it outside here. And it's a perfect execution by the offense. Great down blocks, perfect down blocks by Olamide Zaccheaus and DJ Moore. And look at that pull by Darnell Wright, just as I described it. Beautifully done here by him getting to the second level. And then for Kyle Monangai, it's just making a play after the play. Good speed to get the edge, explodes through the second level, through that gap that just exposed here. And then he displays that very underrated ability to be elusive and shifty in the second level right here. Breaks the first tackle, jukes out the second guy, and gains massive yards here on this play, just making the second effort play, being elusive, being powerful. I loved to see it here as well on pin and pull. He looked exceptional in that aspect all day long too. And overall, for the run game, just unstoppable running the rock in this game. And then for the second big category that we want to talk about today, already covered the run game now, we still have to talk about it quickly, the passing game and his ability to be a receiving back in this league. And I think overall he had a really solid day. Yes, he had one drop, which I would have loved to see him make that catch. But on the other hand, he also made one great catch leaping for Caleb Williams, who was a little bit off target on a throw. So he made up for that drop a little bit there. And then he took multiple checkdowns and screens and turned them into big gains. So I loved seeing that, his ability to make yards after the catch happen. Just talked about it in the previous category. The guy is a dangerous player with the ball in his hands, and he just broke some tackles and made some guys miss. He just really made the Cincinnati Bengals look really, really silly, like just everyone this season so far, but he showed it, like I said, in multiple games this year as well, and once again here in Week 9 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And that brings us already to the conclusion of today's video. Real quick, blocking mostly on routes that game, so he wasn't really in the backfield blocking a lot for Caleb Williams. I saw 2 reps, nothing special. He looked still good like in the previous game, so nothing to add to his tape right there. I guess Ben Johnson was just really confident with the Bears O-line handling the weak Bengals rush here. And yes, it was against a bad defense, but the way he made NFL defenders look silly all day long, trucking them or juking them out, was really, really impressive once again. And like I said, everyone who follows the channel saw it coming, because no matter who the Bears played, he showed exactly that. Vision, power, elusiveness, and against the Bengals, those traits were again exposed to an NFL defense and confirmed once again as he dominated and completely broke off against the Cincinnati Bengals here in Week 9. So for a quick outlook, what's going to happen with DeAndre Swift? I assume soon returning to the field. I think they will split reps a little bit more, right? DeAndre Swift will still get looks for the Chicago Bears as he still adds some speed to this offense in the run game. But I think overall, Kyle Monangai finally earned more reps with the Chicago Bears moving forward. He's a very consistent blocker. He can run this system for Ben Johnson perfectly. Wide zone, he's really consistent. And if there is a cloudy look, he will gain yards after contact. As soon as contact is initiated, usually DeAndre Swift is not good. In between tackle runs, he's not too good as well. So I think Kyle Monangai is really stealing those reps from him, and I'm not mad about it because he is an absolute dog, my favorite player in the NFL right now. He really has developed into that guy, and I just can't wait and see how he develops further in this system because he's so much fun to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed him against the Bengals, and I can't wait and see how his NFL career turns out with the Chicago Bears. Hopefully a long one, but let's enjoy his rookie season even more over the next couple of weeks. And with that being said, guys, that's the end of today's episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think of Kyle Monangai and his Week 9 performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, but it supports me a lot, so I would appreciate it. And also leave a like on the video. And I see you guys in the next video. And as always, guys, bear down.